Let's move now to the courts on another heated day as state witness Slindelo Madlala took to the stand in the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial once more. Although he's failed to remember some key moments, Madlala spoke about how one of the investigators apparently abused their power by intimidating witnesses. Madlala was in the house on the night the soccer star was killed. That was in October 2014 in Vosloorus. eNCA reporter Slindelo Masikane, of course, has been in court following this story, and she joins us now. So, Slee, thank you very much for joining us. Today it was Advocate Mshololo finishing off her cross-examination for suspect number 5. Talk to us about some of the key moments that emerged from today.
Well, the post-mortem report was revealed today, Sally, where we know now that Senzo Meyiwa suffered a close contact bullet wound. We understand that whoever shot Senzo Meyiwa shot him from the front at very close range, and that the bullet exited from the back. That was the post-mortem report during cross-examination that Advocate Slindelo Mshololo referred to, which contradicts the testimony of Slindelo Madlala in terms of who had the gun when the intruders came in, because according to that version from Slindelo Madlala, it was the first alleged intruder who had a gun, and at that point we understand that the first intruder was being assaulted, beaten by Kedi, Zandi and their mother, and that Senzo Meyiwa had the second intruder pinned against the wall, and at this point Slindelo Madlala has not indicated in his evidence that the second intruder had a weapon on him. So that's just one of those highlights coming through. But again, the infamous second docket 375, rearing its head once more in this trial, and Advocate Slindelo Mshololo referring to some statements in this docket that were made by Slindelo Madlala as well as others, and in this particular instance she referred to one statement where Slindelo Madlala is telling someone that there was a fight in the house between Longwe and Zandi, who were dating at the time, and that Senzo Meyiwa was trying to separate the two. Now this supports the version of docket 375 that there were no intruders in the house and that someone in the house shot Senzo Meyiwa. Let's just take a listen to some of that testimony and cross-examination this morning.
Mr. Madlala, are you testifying with an intent that your testimony should result in you not being charged?
Unikeza ufakazi ubheke ukuthi ke ufakazi bakho bizogcina isinqumo sokuthi wena ke ungathweswa icala.
Ufakazi ngimnikeza la akusikho lokho. If uDumelo wrong naye uzoya ejele. Angekho umuntu engimprotecta at all.
The testimony that I'm giving you is not about that. If it's Dumelo that is wrong, he has to go to prison. So there's no one that I'm protecting.
Please.
So this second docket, which is just not going away, can it actually be used in this trial, which is dealing with the first docket? There was quite a bit of discussion about that today.
Yeah, you would have heard a back and forth. I mean, I don't think I've seen State Prosecutor Advocate George Baloy standing up so many times to object due to the line of questioning around docket 375. He was vehemently opposed to it, saying that at this point there is no basis to be raising questions about it. However, it is an exhibit in court, and so that's the reasons that have been put forward by the defense to say that, oh, yes, no decision has been made to prosecute. In fact, letters from the NPA suggest that the DPPs in Gauteng are awaiting the credibility findings, and I'm quoting the letter, of the trial, the current trial, in order to make a decision on whether to prosecute docket 375. And you would have heard from that sound clip, the question that was being posed to Madlala was, is he testifying to protect himself? Is he protecting those in the house, because they know that there is a pending case against them around this particular matter. So that was just some of the cross-examination this morning. Let's just take a listen more, Sally, in terms of what transpired.
Any cross-examination based on Exhibit C, it's of no force and effect because Exhibit C has got no status. A witness cannot be cross-examine on something that has got no status. My Lord, that is the crux of our objection, and we request, my Lord, that we should perhaps not dwell any further on Exhibit C and rather move along, because, as we mentioned, my Lord, that will be an utter waste of court's time, as Exhibit C has got no status at all.
All right, so where are we now? Is Exhibit C, which is the second docket, am I right? I'm just trying to keep track. It's still seen as part of this trial? And then I need to ask you about whether cross-examination has actually ended and what happens tomorrow.
Yes, cross-examination has ended. Advocate Slindelo Masikane posed a few more questions just after lunch, but then quickly sat down to say that she has no further questions. We have begun the re-examination of Tumelo Madlala, and as it stands, speaking to legal experts, Sally, the submissions made by Advocate Baloyi, which you've heard in the sound clip, that there's no premise to ask questions around docket 375. They're saying that it's simply, it makes no sense, because it is an exhibit in court, it is a docket that does exist. While no decision has been made to prosecute this particular docket, the defense has every right to refer to it. It has every right to pose questions to witnesses surrounding the version of that particular docket. Witnesses can choose to say they know nothing about the version, and they can, tell the court what they know. But in terms of the state trying to control the kinds of questions being posed by the defense, according to legal experts, it simply won't work in this case. So tomorrow, what we are going to resume with, Sally, is the re-examination. We understand the state will not take too long with that one. We may see a possible short session tomorrow, and then on Monday it looks quite promising that we will have a new witness in the witness box to take to the stand. Who that's going to be, I don't know, so please don't ask me. I have no idea. But I do know that I know someone else in the House has been called by the NPA to be on standby. We know that they are in Johannesburg. So at this point, it does seem as though if the state finishes with a re-examination tomorrow, we will be starting next week's session with a new witness. It could be an expert, it could be somebody else in the House. We'll just have to wait for Monday to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, certainly when I spoke to Chico Twala, the music producer whose son was in the house, Longwe Twala, he did indicate that the investigating officer had been in touch with Longwe, but of course it's not clear if he's due up next week or if at all. So thank you so much for bringing us up to speed. That, of course, is Slindelo Masikane. Now,